This is Notre Dame Cathedral. My wife walked into Notre Dame the first time. She grew up Methodist. I grew up Baptist. Okay. She said immediately, first words out of her mouth were, "This is the holiest place on earth." I mean, just crowds still flock to these cathedrals because they still have this effect on us. Just kind of this overwhelming mystery and grandeur. They are. That was my dog, by the way. Excuse me. They're this soaring height, colored glass filling the wall. This is the first use, or the really most important use of stained glass. Artisans were brought from all over Europe to make these churches what they are, and they're and so almost dizzying, the sense of the soaring height. It really was. They really did think of these places as a place where God lived. We think of, you hear people talk about this is the house of God. Well, this really was seen that way, that in an almost kind of scary sense, and almost an awful in terms of awe, awe-inspiring. So, okay, the music that went along with this, sounded like this. Talk about music not sounding like what you hear every day, and that really is otherworldly, strange. I'm not. Maybe you don't even like it. You're not going to like all the music in this course, and that's okay. I'm not here to try to make you like it, but I'm here to try to help you find a way into this music. So we're not always kind of outsiders. What frustrates me more than anything else is people who just kind of shut their mind off to music because, well, they hear it as a stereotype. I hear this all the time with the older generation in hip hop. It's like they know what hip hop is all about. They hate it, and they know they hate it, and so their ears are shut. They will, and it's unfortunate because they're losing out. They're losing out because we need all kinds of music, and I hope that doesn't sound mamby-pamby kind of inclusive, but I think it's the truth. It's why I do what I do. But anyway, let's move back to music. So Paris at this time, the cultural capital of Europe, as I said. So we're hearing music that was actually composed for a specific place. That is the music that you would have heard, not monks, but everyday people crowding into the cathedral on Christmas morning. This was music that was written by Perotin. A lot of medieval music is anonymous. We don't know who the composer was. Certainly, chant is almost all anonymous. Hundreds and hundreds of melodies, anonymous. But there was this one Parisian, famous one by the name of Perotin, who lived about 1160. He didn't live. That was his birth dates. That's the time when he flourished. I should have put FL period. Means flourished. That's when basically his career spanned about 1163 to 90. What he did is, this is really the same chant. If you noticed, I don't know if you heard, but they're singing the same words. Well, they start singing the same words. It's viderunt. So we hear the V of the initial viderunt here. What what he's done is he has taken the chant. He has the choir, would have the choir sing that chant. V. Instead of singing Videruto, the way it originally goes, they sing V and they hold that. And then originally someone, the choir master, probably Perotin himself, improvised on top of it. Just improvised, made up kind of a melody to decorate it. So it's like taking this decorative chant and then decorating it again with like another layer of decoration. And then he started writing it down, adding another vocal part, 2 vocal parts, maybe even 3 vocal parts, all added on top of the original chant. This is no longer called, we no longer just call this plain chant. This is now called organum. Organum. Be careful not to mispronounce that. Okay, this is the new genre. So we've heard plain chant is one genre, organum is another genre. Now the words of these 2 pieces of music are the same, viderunt omnes. So they're related, but the music, the notes are different. Well, at least part of them are different. So here's what we have here. We have the first V to continue. Okay, and on to the next syllable there. Okay, so all right, a little bit about his setting. All right, Perotin's setting. So each plain chant note is held like a drone, right? This long note V. There's a name for that. They started calling the part that holds that note the tenor. The reason for that has nothing to do with how high or low it is. Actually, it's not particularly high at all. Those of you who know the tenor part is usually high male part. But it comes from the Latin word tenere, which means to hold. So tenor is the part that's held. It's the drone part. And then in this particular setting, there are 3 other vocal parts that sing harmony kind of over it and kind of around it. Sometimes actually they move below it. A lot of times they're above it. But so kind of weaving this web of harmony. And it's not just harmony in the sense of like a chord, but really separate melodic lines. Each of these vocal parts could be sung really on its own as a coherent melody. I mean, you might, I don't know if you can hear this, but they're not just kind of moving in parallel motion with the original notes. They're each going their own direction, kind of weaving around, very much kind of like the decorations on that manuscript we just saw. This musical texture is called polyphony. So we've learned 2 genres and 2 textures. Plain chant, which is monophonic, 1 part, and organum, which is polyphonic. So we have a genre and we have a texture. So here's the 50-cent definition of musical texture of 2 or more melodies sounding simultaneously. It's kind of a simple way to put it. Okay, so organum is a polyphonic genre.